On the morning of March 6, 2023, Angela Craig texted her husband that she felt strange, dizzy, as if she was moving through thick gel. Her final message to him contained 3 words: "I feel drugged." Within days, she was on life support. Her doctors had no answers. Her husband prayed by her bedside, but in the background, a digital trail was being uncovered, one that would reveal searches for untraceable poisons, secret packages, and a plan constructed not in a moment of passion, but over weeks with cold, clinical precision. Angela Dawn Prey, born on April 15, 1979 in Dodge City, Kansas, the youngest in a bustling family of 10 children. At the age of 20, on December 18, 1999, she married James Jim Craig. Their union would span 23 years and bring 6 children into the world, their ages ranging from 8 to 20 by 2023. For 15 years, the Craig family made their home in the Denver, Colorado area, settling into a picturesque house in Aurora. From the outside, they were the portrait of an accomplished, faithful family. Angela was deeply involved in the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, not as a passive member but as a leader. She directed the choir, taught classes, and led youth organizations. Her particular passion was serving as a family history consultant. She was dedicated to uncovering the branches of her own family tree and helping others do the same. Friends and family described her as a woman of sparkling wit and generous humor. She loved animals, even though she was allergic to them. Her social media and the memories of those who knew her paint a picture of vibrant energy. But within the walls of that beautiful home, a different reality existed. Jim Craig struggled with demons that belied his professional facade as a successful dentist. He had been involved in multiple extramarital affairs and had battled an addiction to pornography since his teenage years. His struggles extended to gambling, a habit severe enough that it contributed to the couple filing for bankruptcy in 2021. Financially, the pressure was mounting again. His dental business was on the verge of another collapse. Angela had confided in her sister several times over a span of 16 years that she intended to leave the marriage, but Jim always managed to persuade her to stay. In one particularly dark incident about 5 or 6 years prior, Jim had given Angela an unknown drug to incapacitate her, his stated intention being then to administer a lethal dose to himself. He told her he drugged her so she could not find him and stop his suicide. The chain of events that would end Angela's life began subtly, documented in the innocuous daily digital chatter of a married couple. On the morning of Monday, March 6, 2023, at 6:59 a.m., a text conversation started between Angela and Jim, whom she had saved in her phone under the affectionate nickname The Boy. Jim initiated the conversation saying, "Thank you so much for making my drink this morning. I just love you. I hope you have a great day, and I'm so glad you're back in town." Angela's reply started warmly but quickly shifted, and the conversation ended with her saying she felt drugged. Jim's textual reaction was one of pronounced, perhaps performative concern. He suggested checking her blood pressure, offered to bring home a cuff from his dental office, and recommended she take a magnesium supplement from his bathroom door. He insisted, showing a handful of concern, saying, "That sounds really wrong. I'm going to come home. I don't like this." He also made a pointed defensive statement. "Given our history, I know that must be triggering. Just for the record, I didn't drug you." That day, he took her to a local emergency room. She was examined and released, the episode dismissed as unexplained vertigo or a potential inner ear infection. But Angela did not recover. She spent the following days in escalating distress. By Wednesday, March 9th, her condition warranted admission to Parker Adventist Hospital. She endured severe headaches, debilitating dizziness, and violent vomiting. After being discharged on March 14th, she suffered at home for one more day. On the morning of March 15th, her symptoms had worsened dramatically, that her brother drove her to the UC Health University of Colorado Hospital in Aurora. Just a few hours after arrival, around 2 p.m., Angela began to have seizures. Her body was in a rapid, catastrophic decline. Medical teams worked frantically but could not stabilize her. With her organs failing and her brain under siege, doctors were forced to place Angela Craig on a ventilator in the intensive care unit. She was alive, but only by machine. The vibrant, busy mother of 6 was now utterly silenced, her body a battleground for a poison doctors could not yet name.
So as Angela Craig lay unconscious in the ICU, a parallel drama was unfolding miles away at Summerbrook Dental Group in Aurora. The practice Jim co-owned with his longtime friend, Ryan Redfern. The office staff, aware Angela was critically ill, noticed their boss behaving erratically. Among them was the office manager who had worked late on an evening shortly before Angela's final hospitalization. She observed Jim Craig return to the office after normal business hours. Instead of going to his private office, he was seated at a computer in a dark, unused exam room. A highly unusual act that immediately struck her as odd. Why would a dentist, with a fully equipped private office, choose to work in the dark in a patient room? About 30 minutes after she left the building, she received a text message from Jim. It was specific and insistent. He told her to be on the lookout for a personal package he had ordered, and he instructed her not to open it when it arrived. This directive planted a seed of deep suspicion. That package arrived at the dental office on Monday, March 13th. Curiosity, or routine, led another employee to accidentally open it. The office manager glanced inside. What she saw was not dental supplies or a personal gift. The package contained a circular metal canister marked with a prominent biohazard warning symbol and, clearly printed on the label, the words potassium cyanide. The moment she saw it, a cold dread connected the dots. She quickly performed an internet search on her phone for the symptoms of potassium cyanide poisoning. The results listed headache, dizziness, confusion, seizures, and respiratory failure. A precise match for the terrifying medical spiral that had afflicted Angela over the previous week. There was no legitimate, safe, or standard reason for a general dental practice to possess such a highly toxic, restricted chemical. The manager, understanding the gravity of her discovery, immediately contacted the practice's co-owner, Ryan Redford. Ryan, who had known Jim for over 20 years since dental school and was aware the couple had marital problems, was thrust into an impossible position. He and his wife went to the hospital, where they found Jim Craig. They spoke with him briefly. Jim was visibly emotional, his eyes red from crying after speaking with doctors. He played the part of the distraught husband, but when Jim stepped away to take a phone call from a physician, Ryan saw his opportunity. He approached a nurse at the ICU station and in a hushed but urgent tone conveyed their horrific suspicion. He believed his business partner may have poisoned his wife and that the poison was now sitting in their office. The nurse, bound by duty, did not hesitate. She contacted the Aurora Police Department, setting in motion a homicide investigation that would shift the focus from Angela's failing body to the man pretending to pray for her survival. The police investigation began to move with swift, methodical precision. While homicide detectives were notified at the hospital, the digital and paper trail Jim Craig left behind started to unravel his carefully constructed narrative of a concerned husband. The first crack came from Ryan Redford, the business partner. After leaving the hospital, Ryan and his wife were sitting in their car when Jim Craig called him. Ryan answered over the car's speakerphone. Jim, still unaware that the cyanide package had been opened by his staff, launched into what he must have believed was a plausible explanation. He told Ryan he had heard disturbing information and asked if Ryan had spoken with hospital staff. When Ryan confirmed he had and revealed he knew about the package, Jim immediately offered his first cover story. The package contained a surprise ring for Angela. Ryan, knowing the truth of the contents, flatly told him he knew that was not true. In that moment, over the car speakers, Jim's story shifted dramatically. His second version was darker and more manipulative. He now claimed that Angela had wanted him to order the potassium cyanide because she lacked the proper credentials to do so herself. He framed it as a game of chicken, suggesting she was suicidal, but he never thought she would actually take it. Ryan, hearing this desperate improvisation, gave him stark advice: stop talking and hire a lawyer. That same day, Jim followed up with an urgent pleading text to Ryan, begging him not to speak to anyone else, especially law enforcement. He argued it would do more harm than good to their family. In a telling line, he wrote,
I might have let you in on some details that would have made you less likely to cause this horrible storm. A statement that implied hidden truth and attempted to shift the blame for the investigation onto Ryan. Meanwhile, police obtained search warrants for the Craig family home and the dental practice. At the house, amidst the evidence of a normal family life, detectives seized multiple types of protein powders and the blender shaker cups used to mix them. They also found 2 unlabeled plastic bags containing a white powdery substance and a water bottle sitting on an exercise bike. At the dental office, the crucial computer from the dark exam room was taken. Its search history, once unlocked, provided a devastating timeline of intent. The searches were not vague curiosities. They were specific, sequential, and clinical. How many grams of pure arsenic will kill a human? How to make poison? Is arsenic detectable in an autopsy? He had also watched a YouTube video titled Top 5 Undetectable Poisons That Show No Signs of Foul Play. The video explained that cyanide poisoning is often only detected post-mortem, too late for treatment. This digital footprint revealed a mind researching methodical murder, not a husband searching for a cure for his suddenly ill wife. The evidence was no longer just circumstantial, it was a confession typed into a search bar.
The investigation now uncovered the motive, painting a picture of a man not only trying to escape a marriage, but actively building a new life as his wife was dying. Police delving into Jim Craig's digital life found a secret Gmail account created on February 27, 2023. This account was used for one primary purpose: exchanging sexually explicit emails with a 49-year-old orthodontist named Corinne Kane. Kane, the mother of 2 grown children, owned Kane Orthodontics in Marble Falls, Texas, and had filed for divorce from her own husband in November 2022. Investigators believe she and Jim met at regional dental conferences. This affair was not a fleeting indiscretion. It was an active, parallel relationship. Jim had booked travel to see her. The first trip was scheduled for March 8th through the 10th. This date is critical. It was the same week Angela's severe symptoms began, the same period she was admitted to Parker Adventist Hospital. A second, longer trip was booked on March 4th for March 16th through the 20th. This travel itinerary suggested a man planning to transition directly from tragedy to a romantic getaway. However, after learning of Angela's critical condition, Corinne Kane never boarded that second flight. While police built their case, the final medical and legal decisions surrounding Angela Craig's life played out in the sterile light of the ICU. On March 16th, with Angela on a ventilator showing no brain activity, a caseworker from Child Protective Services met with detectives. She reported on her meetings with James Craig and his children. Jim had presented her with a new, self-serving narrative. He claimed Angela was deeply suicidal. He told the caseworker that Angela had made previous suicide attempts and that he had personally revived her several times over the preceding months. He stated that her suicidal ideations had worsened significantly after he brought up the idea of divorce in December of 2022. Most pointedly, he told the worker he was sure Angela's toxicology report would come back positive for something because she had been intentionally overdosing. To investigators and the caseworker, this was a transparent attempt to build an alternative explanation for the poisons he knew would be found in her system. It directly contradicted the reality known to everyone. None of the Craig's 6 children, who ranged in age from 8 to 20 and were acutely aware of their mother's sudden illness, reported any history of depression or suicidal behavior in their mom. Angela's own sister, her closest confidant, had never heard such claims. The CPS worker believed Jim was constructing a cover story. This belief was bolstered by his staunch refusal to authorize an autopsy after Angela was declared brain dead on March 18th and removed from life support. Despite pleas from Angela's family, who feared a genetic condition that could affect the children, Jim argued that if doctors couldn't find the answer while she was alive, he didn't want them poking holes in her body after death.
The legal machinery engaged swiftly following Angela's death. At 12:30 a.m. on March 16th, even before she was removed from life support, Aurora police officers were already at UC Health Hospital speaking with staff, formally launching their investigation into the suspected poisoning. The discovery of the cyanide package, the digital search history, and the troubling statements to the Child Protective Services worker created a compelling picture for detectives from the Major Crimes Homicide Unit. The digital forensic analysis then connected the online research to actual purchases. They traced an Amazon order for arsenic metal 99.9999% crystalline metalloid, a product whose description warned that swallowing could be fatal. This $13 order was placed on February 27th and delivered to the family's home on March 4th. When the arsenic failed to kill Angela quickly, the next order was placed. On March 8th, Jim ordered the potassium cyanide from Midland Scientific. He filled out a required restricted item usage statement, fabricating a story that he was a surgeon performing craniofacial reconstruction research to test the layering of alternative metals, claiming a successful result could be published in the National Institute of Health. The chemical was shipped overnight to his dental office. A third order for $330 worth of the poison oleandrin was placed on March 10th, but was intercepted by investigators who contacted FedEx. With this evidence in hand, the Aurora Police Department moved to make an arrest. On Sunday, March 19, 2023, one day after Angela Craig was taken off life support, detectives arrested Dr. James Craig. He was booked into the Arapahoe County Detention Center. His first court appearance was on Thursday, March 23, where he was formally charged with first-degree murder. In the courtroom, clad in an orange jail jumpsuit and shackles, Craig avoided making any eye contact with Angela's family and friends who had gathered. Some of his older children were also present, sitting in silent, emotionless shock. The hearing lasted only 10 minutes, during which Craig's attorney waived his right to a preliminary hearing within the standard 35-day period, delaying the next step. His next court date was set for April 7th. The aftermath of Angela Craig's death and James Craig's arrest left a profound and jagged wound across multiple lives. The most immediate victims were the 6 Craig children, who, in a devastating twist, lost both parents at once, their mother to poison, their father to jail. The children, ranging from age 8 to 20, were placed in the care of family. Angela's brother, Mark Prey, spoke to the media expressing the family's heartbreak, but also their resolve. He stated that the family was coming together to look after the children and noted that Jim's own family was also there to help, making a clear distinction that they did not blame Jim's relatives for his actions. The Craig home in Aurora, once a symbol of bustling suburban life with its trampoline, sandbox, and girdhouses, fell into an eerie quiet. Angela's family, in their grief, faced a painful logistical hurdle. They could not yet lay her to rest. Because her body was central to the homicide case, it remained in the custody of the coroner as evidence, preventing the release needed for a funeral. This delay added a layer of unresolved anguish to their mourning. In her obituary, they memorialized the Angela they knew and loved, the energetic, intelligent woman who loved mystery shows, interior design, creative projects, and animals despite her allergies. They honored her as someone who always showed up. James Craig, from his jail cell, maintained his not guilty plea. The case proceeded through the Colorado legal system, a slow grind of motions, evidence hearings, and pre-trial preparations. For everyone else, the story became a haunting cautionary tale about the hidden factors behind a perfect facade, the lethal potential of clinical resentment, and the quiet courage of office workers and a business partner whose decision to speak up became the catalyst for justice. Craig was found guilty of first-degree murder and other charges in July 2025 for fatally poisoning his wife with a combination of substances including arsenic, cyanide, and tetrahydrozoline, an ingredient in over-the-counter eye drops. The prosecution presented evidence that he laced her protein shakes and later administered a fatal dose of cyanide while she was hospitalized. He was sentenced to life in prison without parole, plus an additional 33 years for the other counts by Arapahoe County District Judge Shea Whitaker. And with that, we have come to the end of today's episode. Kindly leave a like if this story touched you, subscribe if you love stories like this, and stay tuned for more. Thank you for your time as always, and I will be seeing you on our next episode.